Mark here from Talkingbass. Today I'm going to be breaking down yet another Les Claypool bass riff. In previous lessons I've worked through Tommy the Cat, John the Fisherman and Jerry was a race car driver, and in those lessons I asked for recommendations of some more Primus bass lines. Well, one of the most requested was this one, American Life from the Sailing the Seas of Cheese album. It's a cool little slap strum riff that's a great introduction to this kind of technique. As always, the lesson material and tracks are all there over at Talkingbass, so just click the link in the info below and remember to also subscribe to the channel for lessons like this every Friday. There are over 350 lessons here on YouTube and at the site so far, so there's plenty to get your teeth into. And also remember to comment below and let me know what other Les Claypool riffs you'd like covered. There are quite a few examples of crazy bass playing in the Les catalogue, so fire away and let me know the content that would get you buzzing. So the riff is in the key of G minor and it sounds like this. So first let's just work through the notes in here and then I'll give you some tips on how to get over some of the hurdles in there. So as I mentioned, it's in G minor and we start with a slap on the G here at the 3rd fret of the E string. Okay, so just a straight old thumb slap. Then we have this little hammer-on pattern, okay, which is all going to be played with a strumming action. So we've got this motion going on, okay? So first of all, we're going to strum inwards, okay? So the fingers are going to be coming in and we're going to play the open D and G string, okay? Then we're going to hammer on F to G, 3rd fret to 5th fret on the D string. Okay, so you only strum the open strings and then just bring down those fingers. Now you can use the 1st and the 4th fingers or the 1st and the 3rd fingers. It's completely up to you. I'll talk about this in a minute with the technical hurdles. So we play that and then we strum outwards with the fingernails and play the same thing again. So open D and G string, hammer on with the F and the G. Then we strum inwards again and once again we hammer on with the F and the G. So that's the first 3 little lines in there. Next we have this little move. Okay, so we strum outwards with the nails, open D and G string, and then we have the hammer on at the 3rd fret of the G string this time, the B flat, and then we hammer on with the 4th finger, the pinky, at the 5th fret of the D string. So this is called a cross hammer because we're not playing anything else before it, okay? So we're just hammering across the strings, okay? So then we bring the fingers in again to strum. So we've got this continual in-out motion with the hand there. So, okay. And when we play that inward strum again, we're going to be strumming across the open G string and the G at the 5th fret of the D string. So it's the same note there. So all together we have lastly, we just have 2 more strums on the G, so open G string and 5th fret of the D string. Okay, that's it. So, all together. And that's the whole riff. So, again, slowly. And then just build up speed. Now, in terms of technique, you'll first want to decide whether you're going to use the pinky or the ring finger for the hammer-ons in the fretting hand. Les tends to use the 3rd finger, which helps with bringing the thumb around for muting, as I'll mention in a second. But using the pinky is also fine, and that's how I tend to play it. However, be aware that it's a little harder to bring the thumb right round when you do this. So if you're playing with the 4th finger there, you know, it's really difficult to bring the thumb round for muting. So you might have to rely on the strumming hand to lock down the low string noise on the E and the A strings, but again, I'll be covering that in a second. So most of the riff is made up of this in-out strumming pattern. Now, as a strumming tip, I'd say be sure to really accent that downstroke, okay? Now to practice this action, it's worth isolating the strum over the G open string and G 5th fret D string like this. Just get used to playing that line on its own. And what you want to do here is be sure to stab at that 5th fret, whether you're using the, the ring finger or the pinky, it doesn't matter. You need to be stabbing at it so you get more of a staccato note. So you don't want a long-held legato thing, so, that's not what it is. You want this. So the in stroke is quite a bit quieter than the accented downstroke. So the downstroke with the fingernails there. So. Just want to get used to that kind of pulsing feel. You can also practice this motion with the hammer-ons. So if we take just the standard D string hammer-on there and just try playing around with that action again, you get this kind of effect. So you can hear there how I'm strumming down a lot harder with the fingernails there, to get more of that pulsing feel. So. Now, in terms of the strumming hand, you have the choice of either using a free stroke with the thumb away from the body, or you can anchor the thumb. Now, the free stroke, that's how Les plays it. But when you do this, you really need to pay special attention to the fretting hand and locking down those lower strings, the E and the A string, so that you don't get any residual noise. And you can do that by bringing the thumb round, and that can mute the E string or even the E and A string. But when you do that, you're probably going to want to use the ring finger for the hammer-ons, because as I said earlier, it's quite difficult to do that with the fourth finger. Now the other way is how I play it, and that is to actually rest the thumb or anchor the thumb at the A string and then just pull it back slightly to cover the E string. And you'll occasionally see Les playing like this as well. This is how I tend to like playing chords on the D and the G string, because again, just as with finger picking, we get to lock down those lower strings there. So when I'm playing that, you can see there that I've got the thumb there on the A string, the end of the thumb is there at the A string, and it's just coming back slightly to, or even at an angle, to catch the E string. So we've just got, okay? Now as another technical tip, be careful when playing the G string hammer-on to the D string cross hammer. Be sure to lift that first finger from the G string after hammering at the B flat. You don't want it being held down when you make the hammer on to the 5th fret of the D string, because if you do, you'll get this minor third interval ringing out. You'll get this. You want to avoid that, so lift the finger off the string as soon as you shift to the D string. So you get this kind of seesaw action between the fingers there. You don't want this. You don't want that interval. Okay? So, even though it's only a 1-bar riff, you can see that there are quite a few technical hurdles to overcome if you're not used to this slap strum method of playing. Les uses this style a hell of a lot, so this is a good start, and if you want to take these techniques even further, be sure to check out some of Victor Wooten's playing on tunes like You Can't Hold No Groove If You Ain't Got No Pocket. He is the absolute master of this style, and I'll be covering that tune in particular in an upcoming lesson. So start out slow, focusing on technique in both hands, and then slowly bring up the tempo at your own pace and really focus on those accents. That accent is where all the feel lies in there. So when you feel confident, you can try playing along to the original or the track over at Talkingbass. So that's American life. Remember to subscribe, like and comment, and check out over 350 other lessons over at Talking Bass. Then if you want even more content, subscribe to the Talking Bass free membership to gain access to the members area, where you'll find more practice resources and downloads like the 25 Bass Riff Challenge and the Scale Reference Manual ebook. Okay, I'll see you next week.